Why do I look so dark? Do some adjustment on this. I'm not even Samoan. Brighten up my face a little bit. Holy shit. God damn. Okay. Let me know when you start. Hello, fellow GXers, 4Runner owners who want to be GXers, and Bruce Jenners who regretted their sex change 2 days too late. All right, so what is this video about, you guys? It is about preventive maintenance. One of the best things you could do to keep your Lexus running for a very long time is to catch problems before they even start. You guys know that, right? That's why I do so much preventive maintenance on my Lexus. As you can see from my video library of 2,710 videos minus 0. Okay, check it out, guys. But there are just some things you can't prevent because even Lexus design has flaws in it. Let's keep that to ourselves. Don't let the Nissan owners know. So today we are going to talk about the infamous valley plate leak. And no, if you guys are expecting a video to do a remove and install today, shut off the YouTube video, go do something else. That video is going to take about 6 to 7 hours long, and we're not going to do it today, okay, guys? Sorry to disappoint you. But it's not a matter of if it will happen, it's a matter of when it will happen. And I promise you, I will have to eventually do it because my engine is over 100,000 miles. And for some reason, if you look online, anything over 100,000 miles seem to be a magic number for the valley plate leak. Same thing with radiator, cracking, and a whole bunch of other slew of stuff, okay? So don't let the Nissan owner know, guys, that Lexus has flaws. Shh. All right, let's move on, guys. The valley plate leak is this crusty, strawberry smoothie looking cream around the seams of your valley plate. And no, you guys cannot see the valley plate with your naked eye. You know why? Because my hood is closed. Let's go ahead and open it up. The valley plate is underneath here, guys. Underneath this black plastic exhaust manifold. If you follow this plastic and go down until it starts to hit metal, that is where you're gonna find the leakage. Speaking of leakage, I have to go change my dad's diapers really quick. Give me a few minutes, guys.
5 minutes later.
Sorry about that, guys. All you guys out there, you will reach that point one day when you're gonna have to change your parents' diapers. It's just my time right now. Okay, so where were we? So the leak will look like a strawberry smoothie looking pink crust with some white foamish, creamy, red, pinkish popsicle cream. Kind of reminds me of that time when I went down on this prostitute while she was on her period. Ah, good old times. All right, where were we? So what brought us to this point, folks? We are not going to be checking our engine every single day looking for stuff, right? It's just not possible. It's not efficient. It's just a waste of time. So how do we go about doing this, folks? Well, folks, every so often you're going to have to check under your hood for brake fluid level, power steering fluid level, engine oil dipstick, your ex-girlfriend's bra, your battery post, and finally, coolant level. I always like to have some sort of benchmark so I at least have something to go off of when I check my fluids a second time and a third time. So that's why I like to keep all my reservoirs at the full level, so when I come back for a second time, I can see the difference in level change. Anybody with a valley plate leak will have a drop in coolant. Well, let's stop right there. Stop. Not every single drop in coolant level is going to be a valley plate leak. You got to remember that coolant breaks down over time. Normal coolant loss is absolutely normal. You're going to lose a few ounces every year. You're going to lose coolant every time it gets hot, every time it gets cold. It fluctuates, and that's absolutely fine, folks. You should only worry when you continue to get coolant loss regularly, especially after driving for a period of time. When that happens, you must start to visually inspect the area around your engine. Folks, when you start to get a drop in coolant, we're not going to automatically assume it's the valley plate leak because that is a major job. We're going to go after the small stuff first. Things that are up front and visibly obvious to us. So we're going to check our radiator. This is a main culprit right here. First thing I'm going to check is my radiator seams right here because this is plastic and this is aluminum. So this is going to be prone to cracking and getting leaks over time, usually around the 10-year mark. Okay, so we're going to look along these seams on the driver's side and on the passenger side to see if there's any strawberry crust coming out of here, which is dried up coolant. Okay, we're also going to see some dried up coolant right here to see if your radiator cap has a good seal. You don't want anything to be leaking out of here. Next, you're going to be looking at your radiator hose. These rubbers right here are prone to deterioration over time because of heat. You're going to check for cracks along these seams right here that attaches the radiator hose to the radiator itself. Okay, you're going to have to look underneath. You're going to have to look in hidden corners right here. And there is a better way to do this, and I'm going to show you guys a little bit later. But folks, we're not just going to look at the radiator hose where it attaches to the radiator. We're going to look at the other end too, where it's going to attach to other parts of the engine, okay? So this whole entire radiator hose, especially at where the connecting points are prone to cracks. Folks, next I want you guys to take a look at your lower radiator hose. It goes from the passenger side of the engine compartment right here, and it goes all the way down to the bottom portion of the passenger side of your radiator, okay? So this portion right here is a little more difficult to see, but I'm going to make your life so much easier because I'm going to show you something that's going to help you do all of your checks, okay? And it doesn't just apply to radiator. Folks, I also want you guys to check your peacock. If you take it on and off so many times, and one of those times you just happen to screw it in a little crooked, it might affect the seal of that peacock to your radiator. So check to see if it's leaking right there. You might save yourself a lot of money by replacing a peacock rather than the whole entire radiator and then later finding out it was only the peacock that was leaking. So folks, how was I able to check behind all of my upper radiator hoses, my lower radiator hose, behind the exhaust manifold with so much ease? Well, in the automotive industry, there's going to be a lot of special tools that you're going to need and you're probably going to be using if you're going to be working on your own car for a very, very long time. And one of this is a articulating endoscope, not the kind that doctors use to check for colon cancer, but this is the one that the automotive industry uses. It has an articulating head right here, where at the trigger right here at a spin wheel, I can move my head in any direction I want, right here, which is pretty cool. At the end, it has an LED light, and it has several attachments. As you can see, I picked up a dropped screw with a magnetic attachment. I also grabbed wires in order to separate the wire bundles so I can see each color. And you're going to need these types of special tools, especially when you're going to be doing a lot of preventative maintenance work and a lot of electrical work. And the reason why this is such a time saver is because you don't have to pull apart panels to diagnose anything first. you can just open up a little crack, bring this in there, use that hook tool to start pulling wires to see if it's actually the wire bundle that you need. Otherwise, you would have to go to a different corner of the car and start pulling wires instead of pulling the whole entire quarter panel off your vehicle, which is a complete waste of time. Everybody knows that anytime you pull off a quarter panel, you're going to have to remove the third row seat. Complete waste of time. I was able to check my TPMS wire all the way at the rear left quarter panel using this tool, because in the comments section, a lot of people were complaining that it's actually not a red wire, it's pink. Did you guys also see that I actually checked my serpentine belt to see if there's any cracks along the belt? So convenient, guys. Right here, folks, is the Kaiweets articulating endoscope. I'm going to show you how this is going to help us with some future jobs, guys. Let's go ahead and open up this bad boy. Comes in a very nice carrying case. Let's go ahead and open this up. Set of user instructions. And here we go. Let's take it apart here. Very long cable. And look at this. Here is the camera at the end with the light. And here you have a little spin wheel right here. Let's see what the spin wheel does. Look at that. Can you imagine being in a very tight space and being able to move your camera in different direction? Okay. Let's see what all this is all about right here. You got your charging cable. You have some adapters right here. Let's see what these adapters are. Let's pour it out on the table. And here you have a little hook tool. This is a great little device if you want to grab onto a wire and pull it or pull onto a plug into areas that you can't reach. And it attaches onto the head of the camera. Pretty cool. It doesn't fall off because it's a screw-on type. See that? It will not fall off on you. It's right in front of the camera. Let's try another piece right here. What is this? Oh, this is a magnet. Can you imagine trying to retrieve a bolt or a screw that is deep into your engine compartment, or in the back of your glove compartment, or fell down through the cracks of your dashboard somewhere? Look at this. It's a magnet, folks. Okay, we will test this baby out a little bit later. What else do we have, guys? Look at this. We have a side view mirror. See that? If you want to look at the side at a 45-degree angle, you can. 90-degree angle, you can. Just use your spinning wheel to turn this in any direction you want to capture different angles. Okay, let's go ahead and take this off, and let's go ahead and start up the unit and see what this is all about. Okay, first I'm going to go ahead and turn on the unit, guys. Button on the right here is your power button. Push it and it will start the Borescope. It says no camera because I'm covering up the camera. Now, if you can take a look, I am moving the camera and I'm going to move the spindle gear right here back and forth. So right now I'm moving the camera with the spinning wheel right here, and as you can see at the tip, it has a LED light. Is that cool or what? I'm not even touching the tip. It's moving with my other hand right here just by spinning this. Is that cool? Okay, let's see some other function, guys. If I push this, it's going to go to my settings. It has language settings. Ooh, can you guys see that? Kind of bright, I know. There you go. There you go. So if I push the settings button, you can get image quality. You can change that audio, language settings, date and tag time settings. Okay. You could go down with this down arrow right here. Go up with this up arrow. Okay, let's back out of here, go back to the camera. Okay, so let's see what this OK button does. You see that? So the OK button right here does your screen capture. So even if I'm moving this camera all over the place and I want to take an important photo, all I have to do is push OK right in the middle right here, and it'll freeze the frame. And I can use this photo and I can take it into the house and I can do more investigations or observations to do my diagnostic or to do your DIY, okay? So if you want to get out of this screenshot, push OK again and you're back into camera mode. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this light bulb right here. So this button, this light bulb right here, turns on your light dim, medium, bright, has different modes for your lights. See that? Looks like 4 different modes for the lights. Let's see what this M means. M means mode. Let's go ahead and push it. You could go to camera, you could go to video, as you can see the icon on the left. Okay. So there you guys have it, the colonoscopy tool by Kaiweets, the articulating endoscope for all of your multi-purpose DIYs. Sure, you guys can use a flashlight and mirror. Can you guys imagine telescoping your mirror 6 or 7 feet just to look behind an engine compartment? Not very convenient, guys. You want something that's up close while your camera is doing all the looking for you. I was going to demonstrate checking the rear drain hole to see if it's clogged without having to remove the rear quarter panel, but by now I think you guys get the gist of how helpful this device is. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys at the next project, and all the product links are right below the video. Peace out.